Visit irockin.com for more Nigerian music anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, you are my African queen. Ooh, Lord, ooh, Lord. Just like the sun, light up the earth, you light up my life. The only one I ever see with a smile so bright. And just yesterday, you came around my way. Change my horse in way with your astonishing beauty. Oh, you couldn't make a brother sing. No ordinary thing, a supernatural being. And no, you are brighter than the moon, brighter than the star. I love you just the way you are. And you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. You take me where I've never been. You make my heart my African queen, the girl of my dreams, and you remind me of a thing, and that is the African beauty. Hey, yeah. Ooh, you are my African queen. Oh, Lord, ooh, Lord. Out of a million, you stand as one, the outstanding one. I look into your eyes, girl, what I see is paradise. Hey, you captivated my soul. Now every day I want you more. Now I cannot deny this feeling I'm feeling inside. Hey, no one cannot take your place, you cannot take your space. It's a fact I cannot erase. And no, you are the one that makes me smile, make me float like a boat upon the Nile. Girl, you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. You take me where I've never been. You make my heart go ding-a-ling-a-ling. Yeah, you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. You remind me of a thing, and that is the African beauty. And I know, oh yes I know, you are my African queen. And I know, see I know what I am feeling in my heart and in my soul. Oh, I know that it's this love, and I know that this love was surely sent from up above, 'cause you're the only one that I think of. You are my African queen, and I know that it means that you're the only one that I will serve. I'll give you my heart, my love, my body and my money, every other thing you think of. In a man who could think of anything better than you, who could think of ever hurting you. Sacrifice my all, I'll give it all to you. You are my African queen, for real. You are my African queen, the girl of my dream, the girl of my dream. Yeah, I've never been. Oh, now, yeah. Oh, Lord, you are my African queen. You are my African queen, girl of my dream, my African. You remind me of a thing. Oh, that is the African. So glad, so beautiful. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Munyemo, I love you, I love you, I love you. Munyemo, I love you.
Hello everybody. Our guest is here. I'm trying to bring him on. Brother Clayton, I don't see the invite, so send me an invite request and I'll get you on here, because I try to invite you but I don't have it. So send me a request. Let me see. I'm gonna send you a request actually. Okay, so I sent you a request. I'm bringing you on. Accept it. Good evening, everybody. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I guess this is the first time you're doing this, right?
Well, I've done this before when I spoke about the idea of Nnamdi Kanu's uprising in Igbo land. When I spoke
Okay.
about that, I did that with a German radio station. So maybe this is the second time, I might say.
All right, welcome. Can you kind of lift up your volume a little bit?
Okay.
Because I talk loud, so people can hear you as well.
Okay.
We have people watching right now, so
Okay.
please, if you're on this broadcast, just share. I'm so glad to have you.
Okay.
I am honored because you are just so controversial and you're just going viral.
Yeah, I am. I am controversial and I am going viral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and I just wanted to bring you on my platform because I listened to one of your video, like the one you made on April 27th. It was a 20-minute video. Okay. Please, people, share this video. It was a 20-minute video about African women and their lost identity. And, in my spirit, I was kind of like, what is this guy talking about? Because I felt like you were just like generalizing the African woman. And I was like, there's something to that. And then I kind of let that slide. And then I listened to your video again on the May 20th on, what's her name? Meghan Markle. And you raised some stuff in there, which I really support, and then you really focus on the character of the woman. And to me, I just felt like, I don't think it was only the character that got Prince William to marry her, because when you listen to their interview, he said when he first saw her, he knew immediately that she was the one, and he told himself he had to up his game. You understand? That he had to up his game because just seeing her sitting there, he knew right away that she was the one. And as well, I just wanted, I'll let you talk more on the topic, but I just didn't want people to go away and say, oh, when they meet a woman who is not really perfect, because nobody is perfect. You understand what I'm saying? And they may not take the time, because when I feel like as Christians, I know you are a Christian, as Christians, we have to have tolerance and have a place where, we allow love. I'm not talking about negative characters where people, just are misbehaving and they're not willing to change. I'm talking about like character flaws, like you meet a woman who is very bossy. There are many women who are very bossy because that is how they were raised. And maybe because of the issues of life, they had to be so strong for themselves. So they carry on with that character. But when they meet somebody, a man who is strong enough to say, I love you, lady, you don't have to be that strong anymore. I want to be there for you. And if she's willing to allow him to guide her, she can change. Do you believe that?
Well, can you hear me, by the way? Can you hear me very well?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I would say this, and you brought in a qualifier in what you were talking about, which is if she's willing to change. Okay.
Yes.
We are right now in a crucial time in history, where I think that the church has its role, secular society has its role. We have all these roles going on out there, and individuality, or the ability for you to decide that, okay, I'm seeing what is going on in the society, I see what's going on in the church, but this is who I am as a person, and that I'm going to chart a path that is good, not just for myself, but for the future generations to come, is very, very important. Now, for example, the analogy you brought about the bossy person. Okay, you're bossy, but the situation would be, is this person ready? Like you said, the qualifier is, if a man comes up to such a lady and says to the lady, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, is such a lady ready to drop this? Rather, what we are hearing nowadays is more of, if you love me just the way I am. I don't need to change anything for anybody. I don't need to adjust anything for anybody. Rather,
No.
you the man, you need to adjust. You need to change. You need to accommodate me. I don't need to accommodate you. In fact, the angle of it has come to a point where it's more like I'm doing you a favor, which could be true to some extent. But I think that where it, and this is what my videos have really been hammering on, is the idea of, okay, you're doing me a favor, but where does it end? Where does this end at? What would be the final destination of this journey between me and you?
Okay.
Will it be I'll lose everything I had, or will you be a blessing in my life? What's the final destination? Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So that's it.
Okay, I like that. Another thing that I want to point out is the Nigerian. I'm going to concentrate on Nigerians because I'm a Nigerian woman, you're a Nigerian man, and I don't really want to bother about the other Africans. Who just handle us as Nigerians because we want to change the narrative of the Nigerian marriages in America or in the West. We know that the marriages in America or in the West, due to globalization and immigration or migration, has totally changed from what we know what it is from before with our parents and grandparents, and some of the things I want to ask. Wait, were you ever married before?
Yes, I was. Yes,
And
I
you're
was.
divorced?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, did you meet your wife in America or you went back home to go get her?
I wouldn't say that is a qualifier and I will pass that question because that isn't the issue here. The issue here
Okay,
is,
okay.
yeah.
You know why I say that? You know why I say that? A lot of our Nigerian men, when they want to get married, they want to go home to go get a wife. You understand? There are Nigerian women here, or there are women from other tribes, other races here in America. Let us focus on America for now, and then we can extend it. But they leave those women and they go back home to go bring a wife that they don't know the person, but they talk on the phone. You understand? They talk on the phone, and sometimes many of them are so selfish, our men, they want to marry a pharmacist. They want to marry because when I was younger and I was trying to get married, their family did not accept me. Number one, because of my tribe. They are from the East, Igbos, and I'm a Edo person. They didn't accept me because of my tribe. And second of all, they didn't accept me because I didn't have a college degree at that time. You understand? And what they wanted for him was a doctor, a medical doctor. They wanted a pharmacist. They wanted somebody in the medical field who can, come here and they think, okay, by the grace of God, I have a master's in nursing today, and I'm working on my PhD in nursing. But, they did not even give me any chance. And so that is the problem that I see as a woman in America, with our Nigerian men. They go back home and bring women that they don't really know. Maybe the courtship was 2 years at most, but they only saw them one time. And they bring these women into our environment in America, and the women come with the same mentality that a man is supposed to take care of them. So that is one thing that I see. What do you have to say about that issue to start with? How do we change that?
Well, first of all, I'm going to point out here, and that's why I'm so glad. And I hope other people will watch this show to see my
They
viewpoints on this
definitely
issue.
will.
Um, First of all, I have a very big gripe with Nigerian men. I have a
You have a what?
very big
A
gripe,
gripe
a gripe
with
with
them.
Nigerian men. I have a very big gripe with Nigerian men on the issue of marrying women for what they are, as far as being a medical doctor or being a pharmacist or this or that. I've seen a lot of Nigerian men who um, marry these women. I don't know whether they think it's going to give them some edge economically. It's going to make them some kind of Superman economically, or they're going to do very well in the society because they can go around bragging that my wife is a medical doctor, or they could go around bragging that my wife is an engineer or she's a pharmacist. In the end of the story, I think that fundamentally is not what marriage is about. The idea of, her education. If I want to put it down if I'm going to put it down, I might say that education is just a paycheck. Even though the British colonialists, when they were with us, they left us with this ideology of the glamour of that you are of a different class of a human being if you're educated. But if you look at it very carefully nowadays, education is just a paycheck. The
That's
other
right.
the other things that we've been doing, going around telling people, "Oh, I have a PhD in nuclear energy," it doesn't really mean anything. It just means
Right.
that you are narrowed into that field of study. One of the things we see that some people feel that because he has a PhD in nuclear energy, he doesn't have a right to talk about politics. He's not an
Hmm.
expert in agriculture. A PhD doesn't mean that he knows it all. It just means he's narrowed into that particular
In
field of
that
study.
field.
Yeah, he's
Hmm.
narrowed into that field, and he should be innovative in that field. Um, One aspect of that is that now we have a lot of people who are not innovative. I mean, we have the most educated people in the world in Nigeria, but they cannot create a button. They can't create a
They,
sewing
they,
pin.
they can think.
They can't
Hmm.
create anything, but they're all bragging that they have these high degrees and these high, stuff. So first of all, I think it's very wrong for someone to marry based on that the woman is a professor or the woman is a medical doctor and stuff like that. Now, on the other hand, I also have a gripe, a very, very serious problem with women who marry a man when they know this man is not of their social status because they want to get out to America or they want to
That's
go to
right.
London or they want to go to UK. If you guys are
Yes.
on unequally yoked, because I tell my friends about one thing, and here is a serious issue. The issue is this. Let's say the woman was going through hard times in Africa. When you're going through hard times, you're totally blind about a lot of things happening around you. You're just
Hmm.
focused on the problem at hand. You're focused
Right.
on the problem at hand. And until that problem is solved, you can't see other things around you. You really are blind to a lot of things happening around you. So let's say you followed a man because you felt that things were really tough in Nigeria and you come here. Then God blesses you. You now get all the handbags you wanted, all the shoes you wanted. You get the car you wanted to drive. You have the house
Yeah.
you wanted to drive in. You get all these things together. Then suddenly, whatever was holding you down, that blindness goes away. You're now relaxed. You now come to who you truly are because you now have these things. Even in fact, you're bored with these things. That's when you now turn around and discover the man is short, or the man is uneducated, or the man snores in the night, or he doesn't know where to press his toothpaste, and it turns into a disaster. So I think the worst thing that African women have done is to go around marrying also because they want to get out. You just pick up anybody and marry him. Because
Mhm.
all things being equal, God being on your side, the poverty will go away. And then you'll come back to your senses. And then when you come
Right.
back to your senses, you'll discover this man wasn't exactly what you needed, that you were just
Yeah.
blinded by the poverty at that point in time. So
Bro-
that is one thing.
brother, would you say it is the fault of both sides, that the men and the women as well? So it's not just the African women who are guilty of this, it's the men as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Men play a crucial role in going to marry women because of they think these women are going to come and lift up their financial acumen, as
That,
the case may be.
mhm.
But I also want to point out in this your show a very strange thing I'm seeing nowadays, a very strange and very scary thing, horrible
Okay.
thing. Women don't investigate. I don't know what is going on with the women back home. A man will just appear and say he's a businessman. There's no investigation, only for her to arrive here and discover he sweeps the airports. Okay,
Yeah.
and don't forget, we're in United States of America where you can buy clothes in Ross and look very good back home. You can buy
Right.
clothes in Ross. You can go and buy clothes in TJ Maxx. Meanwhile,
Right.
you saved for 8 months to buy those clothes,
Right.
and then you wear these clothes and go back home and say you're a businessman. Women don't
Yeah.
investigate. There are countless, countless horror stories of women who are not figuring it out.
Right.
A man tells you you can only call him at 8 p.m. on Saturday. Why is it that you can't have access to him throughout the rest of the
During,
week?
yes, any time of the day, yes.
Yeah, a man, you've talked to a man for years. You don't know where he lives at. You don't know where he works at. You only know that he's in Texas. And in your mind, Texas is like maybe Agege or it's like Oshodi. I mean, these are serious, serious problems. And so you suddenly come and discover that, it's something else. And then, okay, So that's one side of the story. The other side is if you've married him, what is the next move? Do you leave or do you try to make it work? And if you've tried to make it work, what is your end view of making it work? Is it make it work for yourself, which would be you finally take him to the American courts and take everything from him and throw him out through the window? Or do you try to make it work like you made it work, where you came here, went back to school, became a nurse practitioner, and then still stood by your husband in the end of the story? Those are all alternatives that we have in this story.
Okay. One thing I want to say, I think it's our culture. Our culture is it's a fake. When you're out of that environment and you live in the West now, you will be able to see a lot of things that are not really right in our culture, because there's the pressure on women to get married. There's that pressure for you to have children. And then our Nigerian women, really, like you said, they don't take time to investigate anymore. This guy just flies down from one country from Europe or America, Canada, wherever, and say, I want to marry you. Because she sees the prospect of coming here for financial gain, she just accepts. And then when she gets here, she's surprised, because some of them are cab drivers, some of them are security officers, some of them are whatever they are, and they're disappointed. They're disappointed about that, and they feel like, oh, they were deceived into the marriage. They weren't actually deceived into the marriage. You deceived yourself, because you went into that marriage as well with an ulterior motive, and so you got what you wanted. You got disappointed. All right. So, but I want to say something though. In your videos, it's like you generalize a lot about African women. I hope that is not your point of view, that you think that all African women are that way. You live in Texas, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You live in Texas. So I live in a very rural area, so I don't really see a lot of Nigerians. But I lived in bigger cities before, and I've heard stories, I've seen things, I've witnessed stuff. What is the percentage of the Nigerian marriages in Texas that are undergoing a lot of the things that you talk about in your video? Because it seems like, it's a big percentage over there. It's a huge problem. And that is why you were talking about it on social media. So can you tell us how big is the problem in cities like that?
Yeah. There is a serious problem. And the problem pretty much has a lot to do with let me see how I can put it here. There is a serious problem, and the problem has a lot to do. Let me put it. I would say, because I really don't have statistics to say how it works in a metropolitan place, and I don't have the statistics to point out how it works in a rural place. But I will say, without mincing words, that we do have a serious problem.
Okay.
And the ideology, or what the problem is all about, is really perception.
Okay.
Let me put it this way, because I know I've been going around in circles with my introduction there.
Right.
The perception of what you think life is, what you believe life is, how you feel life works. The perception of what your future is going to be like. I think there's a lot of African women now that don't think that Africa is anymore in their story of their origins.
Really?
Yes. There's a huge number of women now who we're done with Africa. We are no more part of it. I've heard it in places. I sit down, I listen to them talk. If I die today, bury me here. I'm done. The politics is not going to change. The way the people talk is not going to change. The way back home is not going to change. So I really don't have much of a future here. My children are here. My job is here. Everything about my life is here. So therefore, I'm done. And it reflects in their behaviors and in their decision-making process. When I made those videos, just to expand on that,
Okay.
it was designed, and that's what the media does all the time. The media does it, we all do it. It was designed to be sensationalist. It was designed to
Okay.
be sensationalist. It was designed to be very, very provocative,
Controversial.
controversial, and that's what brings people in. Then I release the ideology of what I believe is an opinion that needs to be heard in the society. But there
Okay.
is also an emergency. There is an unprecedented number of men who are now living in holes, whose lives have been destroyed using the American court systems. And this is a
Right.
system that has nothing for us. I mean, this is the same system that would, send um, us to jail. This is the same system that would shoot us dead in a routine traffic stop. And our women are taking our men into that system and using that system against us. You see, meanwhile, the same system could kill you in a routine traffic stop. Okay.
Right.
Um, there's an
It's a
unprecedented.
it's really it's a shame though. It's really for me. I think it's a big shame that our women cannot work with our men to kind of. I know there's some men out there that are irresponsible, but what I see most times is our African women actually using the court system to pay the men back. I don't, regardless, I keep telling women it does not matter what you have against the man. Don't use the court system to destroy him, and don't use it to destroy your children, because some women have taken sole custody of the children and the fathers can't even see the children, and it breaks my heart because no child is supposed to be raised on this earth without their father if the father is alive. You understand? I think our African women need to start changing their orientation when it comes to that. It's like you're not doing yourself and your kids a great service by using the court system to destroy our men. You need to work together. You need to have a forgiving heart, regardless of what transpired in that relationship. Come to a place whereby you guys can agree. I really second you on that.
Yeah,
We are destroying our families. We are destroying the lives of our children. I think women are not paying enough attention to what is going on in the West right now, because the way we were raised back home, a village raises a child, but here in the West, we are isolated. We are very isolated, and our children are falling into the system as well. African children are not going to what do you call it?
foster care, and all that stuff.
Foster care, and they are taking them away from the homes because and that is not who we are as Africans. And like you said, it is a big shame that women, African women here in America or wherever else, think because they're in that system that they need to completely, people that do not have a culture, people that loses their cultural identity, they will never feel fulfilled in any society where they are. That is just the truth. If you know who you are and you're grounded in your culture, it does not matter where you are in the world. You have meaning.
Yeah,
You have meaning. You have a sense of who you are, and that is
exactly.
what we have in our African American society today
Yeah,
because of that problem. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to interject and say that what I'm seeing too is a level of what I would call vindictiveness. There's a vindictiveness that I don't know where this is coming from. And I'm sorry to say this, and I'll use very strong terms, from the pit of hell. Because when you have these problems with the man, I would think that ending the marriage is bad enough as it is. This is happening in the United States, this is happening in Europe, this is happening in Australia, it's happening all over the place.
Right.
Ending the marriage is bad enough as it is, but it goes further now. They take the man to court, take everything from him, destroy him. He runs into a hole, and then they now financially ruin him. They take the child support. Which, let's now look at the issue of child support. What's going on now in the child support system? He's paying child support, and the woman is still indoctrinating the children that the father is not good, the father is useless, the father is this, the father is that. The father, I cannot tell you the number of graduations I've gone, like graduation parties, and the father is standing isolated from the crowd because they destroyed the man. He's standing there isolated, and they've even still taken money from the man monthly, incredible sums of money monthly from the man, but he cannot be part
Yeah.
of the children's lives. So his money was used to rear the children, but still the woman makes it a point of duty that the man is still estranged from his children. The man is
That's
separated from his
wickedness.
children. This
Yes.
is a common denominator going on here in the United States in huge numbers. Houston, Texas, where I'm living, all over the place. Men are paying child support and are still being destroyed in front of their children, condemned. Men are paying child support. And this is something where, when I came out in these videos, people warned me. They say, you don't talk about these issues. You keep quiet. It's a no-no. You
No.
sit down like that. Just leave it like that. And because of this, when I came out, the videos went viral because nobody talked about it. Nobody said it. I was like, how is this right? Okay, we've come to the point where we're paying child support, or anybody's paying child support. Why should that person still be made the villain in front of the children? The children have no idea. The children don't know that part of the school fees being paid, their clothes wear, is still from the man who is no more in the home and is not allowed to see the children.
That's a shame.
And the American system promotes divorce, promotes these things because they tax everything. Everything is being taxed by that system. So that's why the American system is so excited about divorces. They're so excited because they get a huge amount of money from tax in this situation. And the African women don't get it. They don't understand that it's an industry.
Apart from the money, brother, they don't want the African Americans or blacks. They don't want their family stable. They don't want it strong. I'm telling you.
Well, I will interject there and say something that the African American society, unlike, you see, what you do not grow up with, you will not understand. The African American society has actually begun a recovery of this situation. They did it before us. In fact, if you go into the history of the United States of America, the welfare system was built to break up the African American family. So they used to tell the African American women when they went for welfare, get rid of your husband first before we give you the paychecks, the money. And so it became a part of the welfare system that you got rid of your husband, then you went and said, he's not in the house, I can't find him, he's no more around, I need money, and they gave you the welfare checks. So the welfare system was built on an attack against the African man, the African American man. But guess what? In the future, we now had Chirac. Chirac is the nickname for Chicago, where Chicago had the most homicides in history, more than Iraq itself. And people now call it Chirac. Chirac became even a movie made by people like Spike Lee. The issue of Chicago becoming a place where you had more homicides than Iraq, more homicides than any place on earth, because we had a generation of young men without fathers. A huge generation of young men growing up without their fathers, and the mothers thought the money replaces what the father is. So the African American community had meetings. The opera stepped in. The whole they came in and said, look, we've done this thing for years. It has caused damage, more damage than we can ever dream of. We must back off. African women started entering America just yesterday. They came and saw the system and they picked it up and put it on their head like a crown. Not knowing that a lot of other systems are beginning to see that this thing is not working and they're reversing. They're getting out of it. African women are just getting in. Now we're going to have, and I'm telling you what is happening right now, a huge generation of the third generation of Africans without their fathers. A huge number. Third generation Africans are coming up without their fathers. And they're going to have females who cannot cook. Why? Mommy is working so hard to take care of the house that was two income. The girls can't cook. They can't do anything. They have no home training because mommy is never at home to train them. Mommy is working very hard to keep things alive. What will be the future of the African community in the United States? That's a big question mark.
I work in psychiatry, so I see the deficit and I see the problems, over time with people who were neglected as young children or were raised in a single family home. Many of them, they turn to alcohol and drugs, and now they're addicted. So it's become like a problem in the society. And that is what our African women they're not paying attention. This is what African women are not paying attention to now, because they think what they're doing right now, they're having fun, they're spending all the money, but the negative effect of all they're doing right now, when it blows up in their faces, they would not be able to handle it. We're talking about America. It's a big issue in Africa, in Europe as well. a lot of men, they send off their wives to different countries where they can get welfare system, and they live they live by themselves in other countries, and the wives are now raising those children by themselves, and the money that they are getting is not even causing problems for the men and the women, because the men want a share of it and the women are not giving it up. So it is a big problem. We as Africans, we should not forget where we are coming from. We should, because for me, my father, he was a provider. My father was a polygamist. He married many wives and he had many children, and he provided for his household. That was how I was raised. And I believe that our men, African men in the diaspora, wherever, they need to take the responsibility and say, I will be there. Even if it is Gary, we all have to drink at nighttime. I want to be there to raise my children. Because, you know, people say you are very strong, you are very independent. My dad was a military guy, and he showed us a picture of a man. You understand? So I know how a man should be. Like you say, I can't use that word that you call those our Nigerian men. I laughed when I listened to your video. Our African men, they have just turned to, many African men, they have just turned to like, let me use the word losers. You understand what I'm saying? They have turned to losers in the diaspora, and they're not investing in their lives. They're not investing in the next generation. They're just living for alcohol. They're living for women. They're living for fashion. We need to change the narrative. We need to change the narrative. Let us just read the comments, because a lot of people are writing. I want to see what they're saying.
I'll interject one more time, then let's go to the comments. I want to say this about African men right here. I think that African men need to be very careful. I said something to a friend a few days ago, and I told that friend of mine, I said, all of us remember that plane ride that we took out of Nigeria or out of Ghana. We all remember that flight. The first flight that after we went through the customs and immigration and they allowed you to get out of Nigeria, we all remember that flight. There's nobody in the United States or Europe that doesn't remember that flight. And we made promises. We didn't sleep in that flight. We all made ourselves promises. We always promised, when I get here, I'll do this, I'll do that. You know, I will do whatever it is. What happened to the promises we made to ourselves? That is the thing I always ask African men. What did we promised ourselves so many things. What happened to those promises? And what can you do to reset yourself and recalibrate yourself towards those promises? Because if you follow those promises, you'll discover you have no time to spend yourself drowning in alcohol. If you follow those promises, you have no time to go around chasing women all over the place. If you follow those promises, you will have no time to desert your children. Yourself drowning in alcohol. Yeah. If you follow those promises you made to yourself in that plane drive, you will be closer to God, because the promises you made and you come into this different system, you will discover they are not easy promises too. The system is against you. The system is not coming here to welcome you and say, oh yeah, come and have it just on a platter of gold. You have to work for it. So if we remember the promises we made to ourselves when we got into that plane, and we were out of Africa, we were out of Ghana, East Africa, so African men will act differently. That's one thing I would say. Two, African men, I condemn heavily in this show, African men who think that the woman's money is their money. That you came to this earth. I mean, I'm very sensitive about this. The idea that I came to earth and I didn't make it is a very serious thing for me. That you came to this earth and you're turning around to look at the woman's money, to look at her money. And if she doesn't hand over the money to you, you'll kill her, or you'll fight her, or you'll beat her, or you'll destroy her. It's a shame. Where is your God in this story? Where is your God? Where is your destiny? Where is your future? If you're depending on another human being to get you there, you see? So you might as well have not come to this earth in the first place. So we have all these different variables, these different factors, these different things playing in. And like I said, I'll hand it over back to you, and let us just look at the comments and see what people have to say.
Okay. Somebody said you people should do your research before you start talking about Meghan and Harry's married. The royal family can never marry an outsider. Meghan's dad is the 7th cousin to the royal family. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she was not right for him, he wouldn't even have looked at her. Do you think she's the only one that is related to the royal family that he ever dated? Or they weren't other women there? Somebody says she's not a commoner, as the media portrays she's from the royal family. That's fine. We'll move on. Oh my gosh, the comments are going away. Somebody said that question is important because it explains his view of African women. So why pass the question? We can only speak from experience. I am watching. Miss Juanita, haven't heard anything about Megan here. All right, thank you, ma'am. I'm watching. True, great. Migration from Africa has actually made us African women and men lost our culture and value, period. Thank you, sis. Good points. Yes, takes two. Said it takes two, the men and the women. I think she's talking about how people marry today. Somebody said, good talk. People gave you 2 thumbs up. Nice talk, sir, from somebody. This is my brother. You are funny. That's Winnie Oge. Another person gave you a thumbs up. And somebody says, don't forget family involvement. Family involvement in marriages is a big deal in America, especially mother-in-laws that come and sit in their daughter's matrimonial home and refuse to go back to Africa. That is a big no-no for me. I'm against that. I don't want no mother-in-law in my home, and I don't encourage it for my sisters because most times they come to do damage. God bless you, my brother. Somebody said economic reasons. Somebody says it is not our culture, but our real self is being revealed. Always better to keep them in Africa and to be having babies. Somebody said marry them and leave them in Africa to be having babies. That is not the fix. You can't fix that. You are the father. You need to be in the same household raising your children. That is so archaic. That mentality and that comment is archaic. Somebody said we are all dreaming of a better life, period. It's not all about culture. How you carry yourself, it will always have an impact on your life. True talk, bro. Motherland anytime, yep. No place like home, you're right. Somebody gives a thumb up. Somebody said, bless you, sister. What about using children against their father? We talked about that. Amen, sis. Forgiveness, right. Forgiveness is the big thing, which a lot of Nigerians, and it's shocking, brother, to know that many of those sisters are in the church and they are workers in the church and they cannot forgive their ex-spouse and allow that man to play a role in the lives of their children. That is so bad. Our pastors need to be preaching about it and talking to people about it. It's willing to be involved in the child's life. God bless you, Miss Pretty Lady. Thank you. You are raising unstable children now. That's so true. In Europe, too. We have the problem in Europe. Somebody said, good afternoon, ma'am. American is no man's land. When you finish getting your paycheck back and go home, thumbs up. I'm a victim. A brother said he's a victim of everything we've been talking. Somebody said, whoa, powerful message today. Somebody said, I know so many men going through this. My 3 children don't even talk to me. God bless you, sir. I pray that the Lord will make room for your children to reconcile with you. The Bible says our children, we will not raise children for destruction. As a father, you have a right in the lives of your children. I pray that God will touch their hearts so that they will forgive you, Brother James, and they will establish a relationship with you. I have a personal experience. For 18 years, I raised a daughter by myself, and for 18 years, almost, she's going to be 18 in December, and I never took this person to court. When we got our divorce, the court made a decree for child support. He has never paid a dime. He doesn't pay. I never went back to the court and tried to get the money, and I just left it in the hands of God. And today, the man is wanting a reconciliation. He was wanting to establish a relationship with his daughter. So we have to find a place in our heart to just forgive and let go. You understand? Many people will not support my view on that and say, no, he must pay. He did me wrong. You know, that's his seed. He has to take care. That's not me. As long as my hands, I can work and I can eat. You understand? I can take care of my own too. And that's what women need to know. If you're sleeping with a man and you married a man and you keep having 10, 20 children and the man leaves you, you need to find a way as well to raise those children if he doesn't want to be responsible. Somebody said it's a Satan plan to keep the man leader from the family. We know that because when the man is not there, destruction comes on the house. Even here in United Kingdom, it's happening. It's too bad. Somebody said, if you don't have time for your kids, why you still have the capacity, capability to do so? Who will? Let's not forget our culture and let our kids go astray. Give them time. It says, give them time. Oh my God, nobody has any questions for you. It says, give them time and get to know what's going on in their life, because time will come when they don't have the chance to do so. Let's not let the kid grow blaming their parents. Good job, brother. Yay, good job, brother. Another one, enjoying the show. Yes, unstable future African children, right. They are trying to rid African children of their culture. Many women have not taken their kids to Africa. They don't even tell them about where they come from. They don't even know, where they're from. So, and we have to start telling our children. Otherwise, the next generation will not have anything to do with Africa. Somebody said the best contingency plan is to have a prenuptial with any African woman before you marry her in this Western country, before she uses the American system to destroy you. Do you agree with that?
Well, here's the thing about a prenup. And a prenup. I've heard a lot of things nowadays. I'm hearing a lot of men making women swear on stuff before leaving Africa. I've heard a lot of that, which I think is a horrible thing, because when you swear on stuff, you're bringing in benign spirits. These spirits never leave. You've created a covenant with some of these evil things, and they never leave. They stay for generations because you brought them in. They use the claim that you brought them and stay for generations, and they wreak havoc. It's not just about you protecting the little property you had. A prenup too is as good as the lawyers involved in the prenup. A very, very strong lawyer can take a prenup out, and but most of the time the courts honor that. However, I think that, like I said, African women need to begin to have this individuality that is attached to their culture. And that has a lot to do with, for example, I think the golden rule is gone. The golden rule is gone, which is more of treat others as you want to be treated yourself. I think that is gone. And I think that the aspect, which is really the really, really scary aspect nowadays, is the spirit of the land. You have to be able to, like when I'm here in the United States, there are things I see. I will say this, and I'm not saying this to brag. I've never been to a strip club before. I've never done it before. Not because I'm an angel, but because I just don't see the need to ever do it. There's several things I've never done, and I don't need to do. I don't take drugs. I don't need a tattoo. Not because I'm an angel, not because I'm better than people, but there's certain things I just don't need to do. One of the things in this land that is a spirit that is going on is this misandry. So you come here, for example, Google Analytics will show you that the phrase "men are lazy" has been used 25 million times, 25,400,000 times. You see words like "men are useless" has been used 28 million times if you check Google Analytics. What on earth is going on? If there is this hatred towards men, or that men are useless, men are lazy, let's get rid of men. You have to now ask yourself, where is this taking me to based on my cultural background, and where is this taking me to as far as my future is concerned? You understand? We have, for example, let's go back to the African American community. What happened in the end? The African American community is the most educated subset in the United States of America. They are, what can I say here? Very, very advanced. They have all the degrees, but they also have the highest number of women unmarried now. It was very funny to me, you go into the TV, you see a show where the women are complaining. The men have all capitulated because you really don't know what you're going to deal with at this stage. Men need to respect women. Men need to honor women. Men need to love women. But women must not tap into these strange things going on, these strange hostilities, vitriolic communication, these things that are already condemning men before they even start, before they're even given a chance to prove themselves, And because of that, we now feel, because if you feel something is useless, you cannot work with that thing. You can't work with it. Or if you inherently feel something is lazy, you can't work with that thing. There's no way.
Yeah.
So we have to look into these things. And the worst part of it is that everybody involved in these stories are in the church. That is where it's really
Yeah,
sad.
that's the shameful thing. Is like the church is their Christianity is just a religion. It's not spirituality or a relationship with Christ for them to manifest the spirituality of God. They're just doing religion because religion without forgiveness, religion without mercy, religion without love. You understand? Let me read more comments. And there's one topic I want to really talk about before time runs away from us. Somebody said we are too fast to learn the wrong things very well, and that's Africans for you. It says that's true. If you don't take care of the situation when you are able to do so, by the time you get to the bottom of the situation, it will be too late. Hey, Mr. Clinton. His name is Clayton, not Clinton. All right. A man who doesn't provide for our family is not a man. That's true, sis. Very true. Obviously true. God bless you, sister. You are intelligent. I salute you, Mr. Clinton. Again, they call you Clinton. You are Clayton. Somebody said this guy is so right. He shouldn't take a child support for a man to take care of his kids. That's right. A sensible man does not need to be taken to the courts for him to decide to say, lady, I will give you such and such every month so you can take care of your child. Somebody said, what about the men who leave their families? My brother is calling out women I suspect that he addresses, and I quite understand, but please streamline what you're saying so we can find solutions to the problem. Yeah, we're already talking about that. Where are you? Did you go? Many men allow their mother to dictate how they should run their home, and so many of them depend on your salary. Lazy men are hardworking. So many of our women has become too materialistic. So many men has become lazy. Nigerian women respect their pastors more than their husbands. Too bad. Communication, understanding, determination, encourage without whatever, without laziness to approve. Okay. Leads to laziness, leads to value of our culture. Thank you for coming back and letting not be the only one person's responsibility. Somebody said, I'm a victim. My wife told a lie to the police that I used to beat her every month. Was it the time she got her government assistant money?
I
Many men
wanted,
would do that.
can I interject on something? I heard one of the questions you asked, and I want to answer that question, which is a very powerful question. Someone's asked the question about how about the men who leave their women? I want to point out something here. There's this new ideology going on out there that men just are mad, they're crazy, they just up and leave for no reason. And it's very, very easy in this particular kind of a society to have a situation where the rhetoric is made in such a way that one party is always crazy and one party is always smart. But, I discover most of the time when these conflicts happen that the side of the man is lost in the conflict. What is his own reasons? They're inconsequential. What is his grievances? They're inconsequential. He's a man. Everything about him is inconsequential. He should just operate. He should just be effective. He should just be there, and so nobody listens to him. I've seen in so many cases where women have made the atmosphere, especially here in the United States, so horrible, so unbearable that he had to leave. He had to leave. It would be better, it's better he leaves than for him to sit inside there and commit a crime or do anything that he should not do. It's better he leaves than the children to witness every day of their life, okay, what's going on in the house. Because some people have, like I said, it's very vindictive. They do not even hide it. They don't let the children, they do it in front of the children. They do it in front of the children, and the children now get split in the idea of having to take sides between daddy and mommy. They don't even hide it. So the man decides, instead of my children to spend their lives looking at this, okay, instead of the children instead of me to go through this every day, let me leave. Because already the man is dealing with the world out there, and the police, the law system, the workplace is not heaven. We're not living in heaven. There's so many stress from the outside world. So if you're having stress from the outside world, then your internal home has turned against you too. There's so much stress a person can take. Now, there's a myth out there that men don't have a breaking point. Men do have a breaking point. They do have a point at which they snap. There's this myth that no man should have a breaking point. He should just stay there. No. So I've heard this story of how about the guy who left? Well, we should hear his story too. What happened? Is he just crazy? Was he living in a perfect marriage and he just up and left? Or up and leave, or whatever would be the terms there? Did he just get up and leave? What happened that he, got up and, walked away?
I mean, left.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Do you want me to read more comments, or just that last segment that we're going to talk about?
Actually, it's your show, so I'm following your own format.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah, I'm following your format.
I like to read the comments because a lot of people are commenting. I'm going to tell you, you brought people in today. I guess people wanted to hear the controversial man.
Yeah.
Because usually when I'm live, I don't have a lot of viewers coming and living like this. They mostly watch my videos later, but I see people are staying on. They want to hear you. They like you. They like your thought process. So yay, we got a winner in the house. But somebody said many men allow their mothers to dictate how they should run their home, and so many of them depend on your salary. Somebody said lazy men. The other person said men are hardworking. Somebody said Nigerian men respect their husbands more than their pastors more than their husbands to bed, and that's true. Somebody said my wife told a lie. We already passed that. Somebody said, what about people using diabolical means? You are right, Okoro. Good job, sis. Strong black woman. Women need to be involved in supporting the household financially. That would deter the men from being interested in their monies, as the man always feels cheated when he's spending his, and the woman works as well and just saving that money. That's not right. They should be people. They should share.
There is right now a very big controversy on that level. The controversy I've seen is
hold that thought, because hold the thought, because it's part of what we're getting into for the next segment, the last segment for this program. Okay?
Can you hear?
You froze. Yeah, you froze. I said just hold the thought. You froze for a little bit. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Because the last segment of the program, we're gonna actually dive into that. Somebody said, "Keep up the good work, brother." Yes. So Houston is worse for this problem. Somebody said. Powerful message. Nice one, my sister. You are an angel. Can you invite me? No, Sister Rosa Sifo. I don't usually invite people. I do plan to invite one guest for my programs because, I just want to be, you know what I mean. So I'm sorry. If you have something to discuss with me, inbox me and I can bring you on and we'll talk about it. Somebody said women need to know their boundary too. African women is not European. Many has forgotten our culture. You said that. You said many have forgotten their cultural identity and the core values we were taught back home. Most ladies after wedding, they allow their mother's advice to display on their marriage. That's true. Few ladies don't know the difference between wedding and marriage. Nigerian women need overhauling and proper orientation. I know many people just get ready and prepare for the wedding day and they forget about the marriage. So many women no longer respect our African culture here in Europe. They will tell you there's no culture in Europe, which is very bad. They should change their attitudes to better with time. And this is one thing, immigration and globalization was supposed to help us as African. It wasn't supposed to destroy us completely.
No.
You understand?
No.
Many of us, we're gonna go back to Africa, but if we do not hold on to our culture, it would be very bad for us to function in our African environment. Somebody said that African ladies make sure they destroy you to prove you are only ground around her. You are only good around her because she wants to keep you on a leash. Somebody said, hello, sis. Hi, dear. Mr. Clayton, love your talk. You need to school all the African men and you are a realist. Ooh, that is my childhood friend, Jumai Tucker Ozigbo. She said, Mr. Clayton, love your talk. You need to school all the African men and you're a realist. Whoa, I have important thing to say. Please invite. Sister Rose, I cannot invite you because if I invite you, Brother Clayton is gonna go off, except you wait after he's done and we can bring you so you can talk. All right, Sister Rose Sifo? Somebody said, can you send invite? Many women don't want their husband's mom in their home. I don't want my husband's mom, and I don't want my mom. All right? Come and visit for a day and go back to your little place. No, I'm just
Exactly.
kidding.
Exactly. Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
We will come and visit you, but don't come and stay in my home for a year. Don't come and stay in my household for 6 months, and then you're sitting with your child in the living room having late night discussion while the other spouse is home. No, that's not right. We are bringing division in the home. Our parents need to be aware of that. When you have overstayed your welcome when you are in your children's home, their marital home for a few weeks. Yeah, the man is absolutely right. Love, we need to hear more of him. Okay, we'll bring him back. Please keep sharing. Somebody must receive sense today. Somebody said. Somebody must receive sense today. That is it. And we lost him again. So we're going to wait for him. Oh, okay, he's coming back. And I'm going to ask him. We're going to be talking about a very important... She's saying I'm reconnecting him because he got disconnected, so I'm bringing him back on. All right. So what we're gonna talk about today, the next topic right now that I want to get into, is the African women who are nurses. Yeah, Indians, Chinese, and their culture. Why can't Africans do that? That is the problem with us Africans. We like to, that is why people bleach. Remember, African women, they do bleach because they do not like their skin color. Even the men, they do not like their skin color. They want to look like the white people. You see them destroying their skin. Wow. You see them destroying the skin. So Rose Osifo, let me bring you on because I'm trying to connect our brother. He is not coming on. So let me see if Rose Osifo, where are you? Send me a request, girl. Rose Osifo, send me your request so I can bring you on because I don't know what's happening with this connection. He is not coming on. Somebody said, I love this topic. I'm young and going to marry very, very soon. I love to hear this. Glory be to God. Especially those ladies that feel throwing off their arm out. They're throwing their men out. It's the best thing. No Indian woman would do that. True. I am here. Oh, you're here again? Okay. I try to invite you again. What is wrong with this thing? Receive sense, man. Let me see. Approve. I'm adding him again. All right. You see my bead? I'm a cultural woman, Benin woman all day long. What's going on with your connection?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Before this keeps going, they love you. Many people say you should come back. So hopefully you can come back, but they want you to come school our men. But anyway, the last segment, the thing I want to talk about, sir, that I don't know if you're aware of that, like last year really, or like the last few years, they've been killing a lot of nurses. They've been killing a lot of African nurses. Their husbands have been killing them because of financial reasons or, going on in their homes. And, the men feel like the women want, I don't know, like they fight over money and stuff like that. But, one thing as a nurse, I've worked with nurses who, they're the ones carrying their household. They're the ones paying the bills. They're the ones paying the mortgage. The men refuse to work. You understand? The men refuse to work. And then when the women come back from work, the whole house is upside down because they've been hanging out all day with their friends who are not working as well. and they mess the whole house up, and they still want the woman to clean up. They still want the woman to be a wife, to still do because I listened to your message when you talked about the men doing this domestic chores. You know, when you said that, you kind of generalize that, but on the other side, we have men that are really not doing anything, but their wives are carrying the financial burden. And it comes to a point in a woman's life, if a man is not supportive, they disrespect their man. You understand? As Christians, what you may call it, as Christians, the Bible said Adam was, God gave him a task to be working in the field, and he gave him the task to name all the animals. And when God saw that no animal was fit for him, the Lord now put him to sleep and created a support for him. But we find out today in America, a lot of people have married nurses, brought them into the system, and they just retire. You understand? Just say, well, she's working for the whole family, and it's sad. What do you have to say about that?
Okay. Can you hear me, first of all? Can you hear me very well?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, one of the biggest problems we're having here, like I said, it takes us back to what I said initially, which is the motives behind everything. Okay. So when we talk about the motives behind everything, we are looking at the idea of someone comes all the way to Nigeria, and as he comes to Nigeria, he looks for a nurse. You see? So someone comes to Nigeria, and the first thing he says is that the woman he wants to marry must be a nurse. And you wonder, why is he looking for a nurse? And nobody asks the question, why is he looking for a nurse? Why must it be a nurse? You know, he says
Right.
it has to be a nurse. That in itself is already a red flag that there's something going on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the problems. The second problem that we see is the lady now comes over here, and the man is still ignorant of how nurses actually operate in this country. Nurses work long hours to make the money they make. They work incredibly long hours to make the money they make. So the man has to know that if he is not ready to augment the finances and to bring in something that is equivalent to what she's making, or at least something substantial, that she's going to work very, very hard to keep the house going. I repeat, I have a serious problem with Nigerian men who want to depend on women for their livelihood. You cannot depend on a fellow human being. Always remember the promises you made to your life. And if your life is so tough that you're looking for a woman to bail you out, she can help you, but she's not here to bail you out. You know, if it has to be that she has to bail you out, then you need to do a serious examination of your life. You understand? Right. So, but I think the problem here is that also in the nurses circle, there's a lot of things going on in their circles too. Yes, a lot of things going on in their circles too. A lot of these women come here, they interact with other women who lost their marriages, they interact with other women who've seen this money, they feel that this becomes their new standards of how to live. There's a lot of things also happening within that circle that could be anti-marriage. That could be anti-keeping a relationship going. And there's another very powerful point you made. Right. Whenever you go into a marriage, which is very common nowadays, whenever you go into a marriage in which the lady, you have no idea of her finances, but she has an idea of everything you make. She knows your bank account. She knows everything you make. She's involved in how your expenditures go, but you have no business. This is something very common over here now, of knowing anything on her side. It will naturally breed suspicion. There'll be suspicion. And once you have that suspicion, from there, it goes downhill. So I think the beginning of the story is when a man goes home and starts saying he wants a nurse. It has to be a nurse. That's a red flag. That's a serious red flag. And then from that point on, I really don't see how the rest of the story can be easy unless both sides are very, very matured.
Yes. Are you done with that?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Okay. Yeah, you said it so well, sir. Any man that goes home to go marry a woman for her financial, for her being able to make him money, that's a wrong motive right there. Your marriage is going to crash. You understand? Your marriage is going to crash because that woman also has her own ideas. She also wants to, invest in her family. On the other hand, I also want to use this opportunity to tell our single mothers in Europe who are receiving money from the government and they have a husband, but it was a planned it was an agreement to go to a different country for you to go raise the children because you're gonna get support. And then when the man comes to you, you don't want the man again because you are not receiving money and you don't want the man in the household. That is wrong. And the money that you're being given is for the upkeep of the house. It's not for you to be using it to go and build a fourth flat for your family back home. You understand? Because that is gonna destroy your say, okay, you go ahead, I'm coming. And by the time the guy comes, you're not giving him problems. You're not calling police on him because, you want to just enjoy the money. It's a shame. We need to start building a marriage for ourselves. Excuse me. We lost him again. And Sister Rose Osifo, I was trying to bring you on and invite you because you're not a friend on my list. I couldn't do it. Except you want to send me a friend request quick while I play this music. And if you do send me a friend request, I will accept you and we can bring you on. But in the meantime, I'm trying to bring back this man so we can close the program. I just want us to listen to African Queen a little bit, and then you can give us your closing remarks, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Just like the sun, lights up the earth, lights up my dream. I'm the only one I ever see with a smile so bright. And just yesterday, you came around my way. Take my horse in way, but you are astonishing beauty. Oh, you couldn't make a brother sing. No ordinary thing, a supernatural being. And no, you are brighter than the moon, brighter than the star. I love you just the way you are. And you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. You take me where I've never been. You make my heart go ding-a-ling-a-ling. Oh, you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. You remind me of a thing, and that is the African beauty.
Listen, there's a comment for you there.
Oh, Lord, out of familiar, you stand as one, you stand in one.
Do you know this person, Favor? She said, I don't know if it is a guy. It says, I wonder if any Yeye woman can stand Mr. Clayton because he's very straightforward.
Well,
Is your friend?
I really don't know. I pray she's my friend. I pray she's among my friend list or something. I pray she's my friend because you always like to hear good stuff. You know the egos of some of us. We always want to hear good stuff. Here's my final thoughts. First of all, and I'm glad that we've come up to the point where we are, have been given this kind of opportunity on this radio show. My final thoughts is very simple. It's very simple. It's very simple, which is that we have to learn how to deal with differing opinions. Okay, we have to learn how to deal with differing opinions. That's number one. We have to learn how to be able to understand that if anything controversial has been spoken about, that it is not an attack. I've seen, if I tell you my experiences, I've had people call me on the phone, and then on the other side, they didn't speak, as if like witchcraft. They call me, I pick up the phone, and they won't speak on the other side, as if it's witchcraft. I saw people
just for you airing your opinion.
Just this opinion. People went and brought up my speeding ticket in 2012, posted it up all over the place, and said I'm a criminal. People
Really?
started digging up my history, my past, trying to dig it up to look for something dark about me. Um, to me, it's more of a ministry for me as a man of God that I want things to work well for both sides of the party. I've been
Amen.
called, a hater. I've been called all kinds of things. Um, People went after my family, my mother, my sisters. They said all kinds of things.
Wow.
People did a lot of things. So I think my final say in this was that the actual what would I say motive was just to start a conversation. It was just to
Okay.
start a conversation. And now, like people like you have picked it up, and I've had contacts from a radio station in Australia. I've had contacts from radio stations all around the world. I've had a contact from a radio station in New York, which I'll be doing next week. We
Okay.
want to bring in this awareness because I mean, look at like China. What happened with China? Is the diaspora that made China what it is. They took
Mm.
everything from here back to China,
We took it. Yeah.
advanced China, and then China now became the place that this land, when it fell, went
Yeah.
to go and get help from. So
Right.
it's all about the future's perspective, not what we see right now.
Right.
I've seen a lot of people, the destruction going on. I mean, African men are being decimated. Trust me, they're being
Mm.
decimated by the system here. We're
Yeah.
being decimated. And in the same vein, it's not about us alone. The children,
Mm-hmm.
the state of affairs is just not right. This is not our
Right.
culture. So in the end, it was just to start a conversation. It wasn't about me per se. I'm glad and then it went viral to show that it is something that is really happening to people. You won't believe the number of stories I've heard. I mean, I
Mm.
thought it was bad until people started telling me their stories in the thousands.
Wow.
It's really
Wow.
bad. So
Wow.
hopefully we can calm down, take a breath, step back, and say, what is our children going to see? What are we looking for? Are we going back to Nigeria in the end? Are we going back alone? Because I didn't used to
Mm-hmm.
understand it when I was a small kid. My father used to go around pointing people to me who went as a couple and came back alone.
Came back.
Are we all
Oh.
going back alone? Because the way it's going, maybe we all go back alone when we're
Mm.
old. Because as we are
Mm.
growing, our thought process is changing. We may be excited about the hamburgers and the traffic lights and everything now, but there will come a point where the excitement is no more than we say we're going back. Are you going back
But but
alone?
but the truth of the matter is 90% of Africans are not happy in the diaspora.
They're not.
That is the
They're
truth.
not.
We are not happy.
They're
We are
not.
tired.
They're not. None of us say this place is heaven, and then in the end of the story, you have everything shredded to pieces, and then what are you even going back with? And I keep on using that same analogy. Remember that first plane that got you out of Nigeria? What did you promise yourself, and what is it like now? And that's just my clue. And hey, I want to thank you, Evangelist. I want to thank you for inviting me here. I want to thank you for everything. I am honored. I'm flattered. And hopefully next time we will talk more about something that will help
Let
people
me
to see
tell
our
you,
future.
I am more honored to have you on my platform, and the love you got today. We appreciate you, and hopefully you can come back and talk to the man, because that is what I believe in. Before I attack anybody, I don't even want to attack people. I just want to get an understanding of what you're trying to do. That is me. Because, when I heard some of your statement, I was like, I need to talk to this guy. This guy needs to share more on this thing, because I don't just want to run with it, and start making judgment. Or that's not my ministry. That's not my goal. Mine is to bring peace and bring love and bring understanding and awareness to people. And a lot of people on this platform, there has not been any negative comment concerning everything we have discussed today. That means people heard you and people appreciated what you came to share with us. And we love you, and we'll be praying. I'll be praying for you so that God will continue to use you to enlighten people, and even those negative people and people that can't get an understanding, God will open their understanding so that they will know where you're coming from. And my last statement here is for people who are planning to go get married in Africa or get married, period. Make sure you have no motive except love.
Exactly.
Make sure
Exactly.
love is the foundation, because when you love somebody, the love covers a multitude of sin. Okay,
Exactly.
that is
Exactly.
my advice to you guys. Don't let the money fool you. Don't let the title, the beauty, the material things, all those things will fade away. But when you have love, there is tolerance. When you have love, you can tolerate somebody and you can make it work. Oh, we love you, brother. God bless you.
Thank you so
And
much,
we'll
Evangelist.
see you again sometime.
We'll see
All
you
right.
again sometime.
I'm trying to bring a lady on here, Rosa Sifo. She said she wanted to come. She got something to say. So I'm still waiting for her to send me a request. But you can sign on and watch us from behind the scene if you choose to do that.
Thank you so much. And you have a really good one.
All right. God bless you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I look into your eyes, girl, what I see is paradise. Hey, you captivated my soul. Now every day I want you more. I cannot deny this feeling I'm feeling inside. Hey, no one cannot take your place. You cannot take your space. This fact I cannot erase. And no, you are the one that makes me smile. Make me float like a boat.
The girl of my dreams. Sister Rose, where are you?
You make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling.
You are my African queen.
The girl of my dreams. You remind me of my name. And that is the African beauty. You are my African queen, and I know, oh yes I know. You are my African queen, and I know.
All right, people, I love you all. I couldn't bring that lady on. And thank you for spending your time with us. God bless you. Share the video so that other people will see the video and see what we discussed today. And hopefully we can bring him back again to talk on the men's perspective, or from the men's perspective, on some of the things that men are going through in America. All right? Blessings. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be talking on the topic of professionalism in nursing, in the profession of nursing. For those of you who are trying to go into nursing, and for those of you who are already in nursing, you know, if you're interested, come and join us tomorrow again at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Blessings. Love you all. Bye.
I know that this love was surely sent from up above, 'cause you're the only one that I think of. You are my African queen, and I know that it means that you're the only one that I will serve. I'll give you my heart, my love, my body and my money, every other thing you think of. In a man who could think of anything better than you, who could think of ever hurting you. Sacrifice my all, I'll give it all to you. You are my African queen, for real. You are my African queen. The girl of my dream, the girl of my dream. Yeah, I've never been. Oh, you are my African queen. You are my African queen. Girl of my dream, my African. You remind me of a thing. Oh, African. So black, so beautiful. I love you, I love you, I love you.
This brother said, Madam, the man is the kind of person I am. Most ladies don't need to be calm with. You don't need to be calm with them. Well, Oga, Mr. Okoro Eze, justice. Everything not be fight. You say you will throw the woman in the desert, or she belongs in the desert. No, love your woman, respect. Love your woman, treat her fine, and she go date the palm of your hand. Okay? All right, sir. God bless you all. My African kings and queens. And Brother Benjamin, you want to meet your African queen? The Lord will make a way for you, okay? All right, now. Choose. See you all later.